This is section 5.1. We're going to be adding, subtracting, and multiplying polynomials. The homework assignment is 1 through 24 in the homework packet. A little bit of vocabulary to get us started. If we have a monomial, it's a polynomial with one term. An example of that would be something like 4x y squared. A binomial, on the other hand, has two terms. So if I have 4x plus y squared, notice I have the 4x and then I have the y squared. That's two different terms that are separated by a plus. Example 1, I have 2x plus 3. And what I want you to do, or what we're going to do, is draw a model using Algebra Tiles. I don't know if you're familiar with Algebra Tiles, but we're going to be working with that in Algebra 2. We're going to be using Algebra Tiles to add, subtract, multiply, and factor. So example 1, we have 2x plus 3. To get the 2x, right here, 2x, I have a rectangle. It's labeled x. It is green. In your packet, it is white. So I have 2x. I need two of them. 1, 2 x's. To get the 3, I have squares, small squares that are labeled 1. Those are units. We call them units. Again, it's positive, so I'm going to use the green. And I need 3 of them. 1, 2, and 3. So example 1, you would draw a model. This is what I'm looking for. 2 rectangular x's and 3 small units. Example 2, we have x squared minus 3x minus 2. To get the x squared, I'm going to use one of these larger squares labeled x squared. Negative 3x. I need 3 rectangles, but since it's negative 3x, I'm going to use the red rectangles, negative x, negative 2x, negative 3x. In your packet, those are the shaded rectangles. And now I need negative 2, so I'm going to pick the red units. 1, 2. X squared minus 3x minus 2. Example 3, we're going to be adding polynomials together. I want you to use Algebra Tiles. So the first thing we need to do is represent the 2x plus 4 using Algebra Tiles. So I need 2 x's and 4 units. 1, and now I need the 5x plus 1. So this time I need 5 x's. 2, plus 1 unit. When adding, I'm going to be combining the like terms. So basically I need to count how many x's I have. I'm going to put them together. I've got these 2 plus the 5 that I added. Then I'm going to put the units together. And I'm going to read off what I have. So if you count, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 x's and 5 units. The answer would be 7x plus 5. Example 4, we have 5x minus 2 plus 3x plus 6. I'm going to take 5 x's minus 2, so I need 2 negative 1 units. I'm going to add 3x's plus 6. So 1, 2, 3x's, and I need 6 units. Now I'm going to combine like terms. If you add up the x's, you've got these 5x's over here, and you've got these 3x's. So altogether I have 8x. Let's take a look at the units. I have negative 1 unit, and that has to be added to the positive units. Well, if you notice, if I have positive 1 plus a negative 1, those will eliminate. 1 minus 1 is 0. So I call these 0 pairs. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to delete them. I don't need 0 pairs. So I'm going to take the positive 1 and the negative 1 and toss it. Put it in the trash can, because they are 0 pairs. I can do that again. I have another 0 pair. So I have this and this one are 0 pairs. What I'm left with is 4 units. So 8x plus 4 would be your final answer. In example 5, we have 4x plus 3 subtract 2x plus 1. So my 4x's, 2, when I subtract, there's different ways of thinking of subtract. You can think of subtract as take away, or you can think of subtract as adding the opposite. In this case, what I want you to think of is adding the opposite. So if I have a positive 2x, but I want to add the opposite of positive 2x would be negative 2x. With the positive 1, I want to add the opposite. So adding the opposite, I've got a negative 1. So I'm going to add these together. Now, just like before, if I have any 0 pairs, they will get tossed into the trash. I have a positive x and a negative x that make a 0 pair. X minus x is 0, so I've got a 0 pair. And I have another 0 pair. If you look at the units, I have a green and a red unit, make a 0 pair. And let's see what's left over. I've got 2 x's left, and I have 2 units. Example 6, I'm going to have you do that one on your own. I want you to have it done for class. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask me tomorrow. Multiplying polynomials. I'm going to show you several different ways to multiply polynomials. One method is we're going to be using algebra tiles. What I want to multiply is 2x times x minus 3. So what I did was I represented the 2x along the left-hand side. I've got this x right here, and I've got this x right here. If I add those together, I've got 2 x's. Along the top, I have the x minus 3. So I have my x, and I have my negative 3. So this picture will represent the 2x times x minus 3. Now what I need to do is I need to take this x and multiply it times this x. Now you know if you multiply x times x, you get an x squared. So I'm going to take an x squared and put it right there. Notice it has to fit. I have to have an object that is, it's going to be hard to see, is this wide and this tall, which my x squared satisfies. It's that wide and that tall, so it's x wide and x tall. Now I have another x that I'm going to multiply, where'd it go? This x right here. And again, x times x is x squared. Next, I have these negative units. So what I need to do is multiply this x right here times this unit. If you multiply x times -1, x times -1 will give you a negative x. Be very careful with the reds and the greens, or the whites and the shaded. If you have two that are the same color, in other words, green times green will give me green, opposite colors will give me red. So a green times a red will give me a red x. Now I have to multiply this one and this one, so those will give me two more negative x's. Now for the next x right here, I'm going to do the same thing. I have to take the other x and multiply times my units. So this x times this unit, x times -1 will give you negative x. And again, and again. So your answer is what's inside. What I want you to notice is that that's a rectangle. And if I were to line that up like it's supposed to be lined up, it would be a perfect rectangle. So I'm going to line them up a little bit better. Okay. So, as you can see, when you multiply using algebra tiles, your answer, which is inside, is going to be a perfect rectangle. It may not be square, but it will be a rectangle. Your answer, I have this x squared and this x squared, so altogether I have 2x squareds. The negative x's, I've got 3 here and 3 here. Altogether I have 6 negative x's, or negative 6x. Another method I'm going to show you for multiplying polynomials is what I call the box method. If you notice, I have 2x. That comes from right here. And I have x minus 3. The x and the negative 3. So to multiply, I'm going to take my 2x times my x and put it in this box right here. 2x times x will give me 2x squared. And then I'm going to take